Whoa.
Happy Monday.
Do you ever just think that redoing a bottom thirds graphic that's worked for so long, for so many years, that people are familiar with?
I wouldn't even test it out.
People are comfortable with it.
I'd wait for, I don't know, the biggest
Monday
event,
morning in ministry.
the biggest event of the year.
And just unveil it.
And there you go. It's not going to be jarring. It's not going to be distracting.
I think it looks great, Timmy. I think...
Out with the old, in with the new.
I think everybody's going to love it. There will not be any segments on national radio programs talking about how they didn't like it. I think it looks great. Fantastic.
We've missed you. You're up early today. I feel like I'm up early.
Timmy,
tired.
We'll get into all this, but I was sick all last week, and
yet you were still at church because
yesterday was Sunday.
This is the morning after.
Welcome to the Morning After Ministry Show, a caffeine-fueled look back on the week and ministry that was.
Well, happy Monday, boys and girls. We hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. No, you didn't. Nobody did. It was so boring.
Probably enjoyed the lead up to the Super Bowl.
I guess.
I did, because I took a great nap to get me ready for the game. So,
I was tired. I was so tired. And my wife was like, hey, I'm going to get a workout in. Are you in? And I'm like, yeah, all right. There were no weights involved. And then my son was like, Dad, should we get some weights going? I'm like, all right.
You have a very different way of bonding with your wife and children than I do.
Look, I just wanted to be a good husband, a good father. The pool felt good.
I saw a picture
back in the water
that your wife had of you in the pool looking like the Jaguars had just lost a game or something. You looked very sad in that picture.
That is my Sunday afternoon vibe. Sunday afternoons are tough. They're just tough. I'm very tired. I routinely apologize to my family because I know that is probably the one day where they're not getting the best of Dad in the afternoon.
See, that's why I always say we do lots of Disney trips on Sunday afternoon as a family. Because
you do.
If I am at home, I'm going to be on the couch or in bed taking a nap.
Yeah.
And then I'll wake up, and now at this new-ish life stage, I have a bunch of papers that need to be graded by Sunday night at midnight.
So your late nights are...
And so...
You're up late.
I'm up late on Sundays, but also I'm up late on Saturdays. So...
Can you really complain, though,
I
Andy?
Need to be out of the house doing stuff.
It was 75 and sunny yesterday.
It was a beautiful day.
It was a beautiful day. However, if you were up in Scranton, PA, thankfully, City Lights Church still had
the
church.
Electric City.
4 inches of ice and snow on the ground.
Lost their electricity.
That's a lot. It's confirmed John Legend is the only way to cancel a service.
I get it.
So if you're up in the Scranton, PA area looking for a good church and in the snow.
Where else would you go? I can't even think of another church in Scranton,
unless
PA.
John Legend's in town.
Well,
that's a given.
I get it.
Okay, Ben, what did you like about... So Ben says he liked the new lower thirds banner on the Super Bowl last night.
I mean, in our group chat with the Practically Pastoring fellas, it was 13 seconds after kickoff, and it was a, what is that?
My 13-year-old son said, Dad, I don't know if I can watch this. He said, what is happening right now? He was so jarred by it. I'm like, it is kind of jarring.
What I think they need to do is they need to debut things in Madden like the year before.
Wouldn't that be helpful?
So that way...
we'd be so used to it.
Because that way you got a couple hundred hours before you actually watch a game. I don't know.
That may have been the most interesting part of the game.
It was weird looking.
Other than the Jeep commercial, which, by the way, won the Super Bowl for me.
Again, we've had this conversation already this morning, but the Baja Blast, and you drink Baja Blast. I don't. I drink a lot of Mountain Dew, but I can't do Baja Blast.
My children were very disturbed at the Seal singing. I had to explain to them that his name is Seal.
That's his name. He used to be married to Heidi Klum. My wife and I play this game where when it's just the two of us in the car, we'll pick a random year from our adolescence.
It's always a Seal song.
We will ask Siri to play the pop hits from that year.
Yeah.
And we'll go through and try to find a bad song.
Yep.
And I think most recently we had 95 and 96 back to back. And there were multiple Seal tracks in there. And it was just, it was so good.
Obviously.
And then you're like, wait a second, that was 30 years ago. Kiss from a Rose was 30 years ago.
Wow.
And it was last night in a Baja Blast commercial.
I'm also watching the halftime show. I look over at my 2 teenagers and 1 preteen who are all just
Enthralled.
loving it, singing along. I'm like, Steph? She's like, yeah, this is the first year where we don't know the lyrics. And normally we know the lyrics because it's like a throwback.
My 14-year-old, who is not a sporty kind of kid, he was not interested in watching the game. He was in the other room playing Xbox. But when the halftime show came out, he wanted to see if Kendrick did it, if he was going for it.
He did it. We all, because we have teenagers in the house, we knew.
And his group chat went wild when it happened.
Every one of all three of my big kids had their phones out in their group chats.
Yes.
Like, here it comes. He's doing it.
And he did it.
Stared deadpan into the camera.
My wife was like, what's happening? So I was trying to side text her because there were other children that didn't get what was happening.
Yes, accurate. It was not for us, Andrew.
It was
That's
not.
okay.
I need like a Mumford & Sons halftime show. That'd be great.
I wasn't against it last night.
You know what?
Was that not like the cleanest halftime show we've had in a long time? I was fine with it.
I need a Mumford & Son halftime show.
I think there are a lot of boomers who weren't happy
to be
with it.
before the game. And then so I can take like a half an hour nap at halftime. That's really I need
tired.
I need a halftime show presented by the Calm app. That's what's for me.
We were like midway through the fourth quarter. I went over to the recliner, which doesn't face the TV. It's like in the corner, and Steph's like, "Where'd your dad go?" And I'm just over there reclining. I was just tired. Game was boring.
The game's boring.
And then at every commercial break, I would get out of the recliner to come over and watch because the game was so bad.
It was not.
This wasn't fun.
It was not a great game to watch.
I hate it because that's like when you showcase American football and everyone in the world's watching, like, and that's the product they get.
Yeah. But 2 years ago, when those same teams played, it was very exciting.
It was great. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Dana loved the Seal commercial.
See?
They played commercial bingo. Should we have done that? We should have done that.
Did you guys do anything with your family, or did you just said, gather around, kids, it's time to watch football?
We just said it's on. If you want to watch. If you want to watch Minecraft videos, you can go upstairs. And, one or two would venture up there for their Minecraft. Everyone else stayed down. We had all the football foods you could think of.
What'd you guys do?
Pizza, wings, breadsticks, meatballs, pigs in a blanket.
Okay.
The finger food, classic football food. I will say this is the first year where we turned down every invitation to attend a Super Bowl party on purpose, and we also opted not to host one at the church. So typically, if we don't host one at the church, we're probably going to attend a party of sorts. And this year, we're like, you know what? As a fam, I think we're just going to stay home tonight.
We're just going to celebrate in our own way.
It may have been the best decision we've made in a long time.
It was great.
What you guys did, you can talk about this.
Okay.
It was very intriguing to me because it wasn't during the game.
No.
You're already on campus. I'm like, I could hang out at church for an extra hour.
Yeah.
So walk us through. You opted not to hold a Super Bowl party, but you did do sort of
we did Super Bowl
a big game theme.
A couple of weeks ago, it was really cold on a Sunday morning, maybe first or second Sunday of January, and we had a couple of different ladies that were like, "Ooh, it's cold. I'm going to make chili because we do our fellowship hall time after church." I'm pointing to the fellowship hall. I know, but the people out there in internet land don't know.
It's on the other side of the
that
camera.
It's on the other side of the wall here. And so we had two very different but very delicious chilies on a Sunday morning a few weeks ago.
I love chili.
And I thought, ooh, we should do a chili cook-off. Mm-hmm. And Super Bowl's coming. And so I grabbed one of our elders who does a lot of the kitchen stuff. And I said to her, I was like, Nancy, what do you think about this? And she said, done, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then I texted the others and I was like, do we think we can make this more than just that? And we spitballed for a few minutes, and so by the time that Sunday was done, when people were leaving, it was, hey, we're doing a chili cook-off. We'll announce next Sunday what it's going to be like. And the following Sunday, I kind of had this idea of, you usually vote with a token or like a ticket. Everyone gets a raffle ticket when they come into a chili cook-off.
Yeah, fundraiser.
And you
sure.
vote by bowl or whatever that way. And it was, what if we have a couple of different food pantry ministry partners in the area? So what if the way that we vote is by each can of food is a vote?
Did you come up with this yourself?
I did. It
sounds like a Pinterest for churches idea.
It was
that's a great idea.
Off the top of my head, it just kind of came out, and then it came together,
and it worked
out really well. We had 12 different chilies, which, I mean, we were
12 chilies is great.
Yeah. If you got to figure,
that's a variety. Any chicken?
Yeah, we had some chicken chili. Yep. We had some turkey chili, some Southwest.
I'm a big fan.
We had some Cincinnati chili. I mean, it was It was great. We had
Natty chili.
We had 12 chilies. I just went on Amazon and had Googled chili cook-off prizes and got like Olympic-style medals for first, second, and third place.
You
it's
are
like,
so smart.
okay, we're giving
That's
out
great.
3 medals. And
I love it.
It worked out really well because
I feel like your youth pastor brain was working so hard here.
It did. The 3 winners were Joan Hill was the
Joan
big
won.
winner,
Yep, of
which
course.
is awesome.
She has participated in so many chili cook-offs.
But see, the thing is that everybody else was like, hey, you like that one? You like that one? And she didn't make a peep. She did not. There was no, oh, hey, this one's mine.
She knew the secret.
When we said, whatever number, I think she was number 4, like, number 4? Who's number 4? Well, I had to look around the room and like her hand was kind of meekly going up.
So
in the
you
back.
didn't even know?
I had no idea
Love
who
it.
it was.
Love
the
it.
other chilies, people were like, ooh, that one's mine. So it was
That's
great.
good.
So Joan won. Second place was a dad who's here, maybe once a month or so, and so which is come on, when you're trying to get someone who's kind of involved to be really involved, something like that goes a long way. And then third place was Maya, who I think is 9 this year. 9 or 10. But so it was, a girl who made her family's chili recipe by herself. It was a pumpkin chili.
That's cool.
And she came in third. So it was really, really cool. And we handed out our fantasy football trophy as well. And so I think it's one of those, like the more we talked about, is that, this is a natural Super Bowl Sunday activity going forward.
Bree loves the idea. Matt says you had one for each disciple. All 12 were there. We have 2 people wondering, did you bring in the Wendy's chili?
I had been sick this week, and I got sick, like worse since COVID. And I got so sick. Get this, Tim. You'll be shocked. I was so sick, I went to the doctor.
That's a lot for you.
Yeah. And
that's a lot.
They did the flu test. Have you ever had them swab you for the flu?
It's awful.
It was way worse than being swabbed for COVID.
It's terrible.
COVID. It went back to the back of my brain, and then I couldn't stop sneezing because
You're still sneezing.
They had shoved a Q-tip 8 feet into the back of my head. But my wife told me that I wouldn't be allowed to go to church on Sunday if I didn't.
you weren't on
if I was
heavy
not
dose of something.
on the Tamiflu by Thursday. So on Thursday I went to the doctor and did all that stuff, and on Saturday I was feeling better and I was getting all of my stuff ready for Sunday, and my wife said, Andrew, you're not allowed to do your drive-through chili because you cannot touch anything anybody else might eat.
Thank you, Melissa.
And so I didn't.
Thank you for being the real pastor and looking out for the flock.
Well,
City Lights Church says, but did you field goal kick a Bible? Here's the deal. I watched that video maybe 5 times.
No.
And didn't realize it was a Bible.
We did not.
I went to the comment section and someone was like, what translation are they kicking? And I'm like, what trans? And then I went back and I was like, oh, they're kicking a Bible.
Why? What?
I don't
even know what this is. I haven't seen this. Why? Who's kicking a Bible and where and why?
What do you think it was? It was some classic megachurch stunt and they had like someone on stage for Super Bowl Sunday.
Was it Peyton and Eli?
Someone in our group chat sent it to us, Andrew, on Instagram. It's one of the DMs.
Listen, I slept a lot yesterday afternoon.
I didn't even realize
because I was.
I didn't realize it was
sick.
a Bible, and it went like over the field goal post into the crowd.
That's impressive.
It's almost as good as like the pastor showing up in the zebra outfit to preach. Like churches are so much fun on Super Bowl Sunday.
See, that's why I'm. So
we were
glad-
just church. I like the idea of hey, after church we're doing something fun. We just had
yeah, but you guys do 3 services. That'd be hard.
We can't.
I don't know how.
Like we could talk pros cons here. Like man, I miss like being able to do stuff like that.
How-
Like, we wouldn't be able to do that. Hey, 8:00 service. We'll see you in 4 hours. Like, no, we won't.
You can't.
The 11 o'clock will stay. No one else will come back, and it's like, oh, so
You could do.
it's tough.
You could do an after each service one, and then have
That'd be
like
stuffed.
the top 2 from each service. Do like a final thing. One. This was something that kind of was like a last minute add on that was a huge win. Look at me. You can ignore him. If you are ever doing a chili cook off, here's what you do. You order aluminum muffin tins. So think of a muffin tin that you would use to make muffins or cupcakes or whatever.
I'm listening.
And they have them in you probably want the 6 one, otherwise it might get saggy. And so that way, instead of having 6 bowls of chili to try, you have you can put like a little spoonful in each muffin tin, and you can try it that way.
See, I was thinking of like, what if I made my muffins with the chili inside of it?
Ooh, someone had cornbread muffins with like jalapeno and stuff to dip in the chili. That was good. I'm telling you.
It's only 11:20, and now I'm like starving.
It
all
was
this chili talk.
It was really good.
This will be the first year at Lakeview where, well, there's still time. It's early in the year. But typically we have had a chili kickoff of some sort for the last 30 years. Like it's been part of Lakeview's DNA.
Your anniversary is coming up. We got to talk about that at some point in the next few weeks.
We really announced the anniversary this past week. We did a save the date with the graphic on the socials, and then again on Sunday. So that end of March, March 30th, yeah. Last Sunday. One giant service outdoor, probably renting a tent. Like finally gonna attempt to get all of our people together.
That's the day you should do it then.
Bree, don't encourage this. Andrew, you've got some great ideas.
Thank you.
At least somebody notices you.
You should do
Brianne,
the chili cook-off during the that one Sunday. I mean, if you're not going to be in the worship center.
Lexi, now you've got all these Lakeview ladies who are like, Andrew with the great ideas. Okay, I'm fine. Yes, muffin tins to sample. It is a good idea. I'm not going to lie.
But here's the thing.
It's a good
You have
idea.
to hold them by the edge of the muffin tin because it's an aluminum muffin tin. And so if you put very, very hot chili in it, the whole thing gets hot. So, but
it's still a great idea.
That was a game changer because you could get 6.
Did you do it yesterday?
Yeah. You could get 6 chilies at a time. It was great.
So the winning chili recipe, was it just a classic?
Yeah. I think Jones.
Was there a twist?
So of the 3 prize winners, I think Jones was a turkey chili and Derek's was just like a traditional chili. And then Maya had the pumpkin chili. And then behind third place, there was like a 1-can difference. And there was like a 4-way tie for fourth place. And I think that was 1 Southwest and then 3 traditional chilies.
I get that.
So maybe that's the problem. The traditional chilies, they all canceled out each other's votes.
Right.
Because about half of the chilies were the just regular traditional chili.
Matt's wondering if we've chatted about the new parking lot yet. We've got a new parking lot at Lakeview. It looks
It's an
fantastic.
expensive parking lot.
It was cheaper than I thought.
Okay.
So it wasn't quite as much as we had talked about before.
Okay.
It was still a pricey.
It was still
endeavor.
A 2-year commitment to some staff members.
But what's cool about it is we were able to take all of the dirt that got dug up.
Yeah.
And on Saturday, our disc golf crew showed up with skid steer and all sorts of fun big boy toys.
I don't have any big boy toys like that.
And they dispersed the dirt through different holes of the disc golf course to level things out, to make them in better shape. I was like, that's
whatever happened with
cool.
the...
No, Erica, he did not do his Wendy's chili this year. People are upset. The crowd is angry. Yeah, Matt, I agree. The new parking lot, it's so nice.
We're
The blacktop
doing
is
this
great.
every year. It was such a hit that before we had even decided on the winners, we had people sitting around saying, what other competitions can we do? Because again, we eat together as a church every Sunday.
So they all need to be food-related competitions.
So food-related competition. So here's what we have next. Are you ready? Next month?
Master Chef.
Pie Day. We're doing a pie competition.
On March 14th?
Well, it's on March 16th because March 14th is a Friday.
3.16.
So, but we're doing a Pie Day competition next month. And so we're like, all right, what else? What other...
All right, let's hear it. Facebook land.
What other
YouTube
church food competitions can we do?
Submit your ideas. What food-related competitions should Safety Harbor Community Church pull off next? I feel like whatever you do, it's going to be a win.
It is because it gets...
How could it not be? Who doesn't love eating
people
together
involved.
after church?
It gets people that maybe don't stay after as often to want to stay because there's the competition element. People like a competition. I think...
Bree, I'm with you. Bree and I are both going to be taking our sabbatic Sundays that day. We're both going to
Frank
be visit.
is preaching on the 16th of March, and half of Lakeview.
The other staff members will be at Safety Harbor getting ideas for things we could be doing. How about pastry chili cups? Put biscuits in a muffin tin and shape them as a cup.
I like that too.
I'm a fan.
I like that.
Lots of great ideas.
Tim, whatever happened with the county being mad at Lakeview for the disc golf course? I haven't gotten any updates on that.
Still mad. We're gonna do it. We have a guy on it. He's working with the county. We're also doing a massive survey on the land, so it's going to tie into potential, spoiler alert, new master plan coming out soon for Lakeview Church and what a potential future build could look like. So we're tying the disc golf course into that survey. So it's going to go through the approval process.
Okay.
They said it's fine to remain open while you guys are going through this process. So
they're not as mad.
The county wasn't thrilled. It really wasn't the county. It was one person. We had one complaint.
One crankster.
And that person who submitted the complaint happened to know someone in the county.
Of course.
And they had to escalate it, and it became a thing.
Of course.
People are the best. People are the absolute best. Cam says, okay, deviled eggs, cakes, baked murals of Andrew. Could we do this?
Here's the thing.
Safety Harbor Community Church. Could we pull off a baked mural?
A deviled egg.
In the shape of Andrew?
When there's depending on who's making what when we're eating after church, there are a few ladies who know that I have certain things that are my favorites, and they will make me a plate and save it for me if I'm praying with somebody after service or whatever it may be. And so if there's deviled eggs, there's usually one or two ladies that will save me a deviled egg because they just know how much I love the deviled egg inside of me.
Sorry, Andrew.
I don't like the devil.
Apparently March 16th is Lexi's birthday, so everyone better come to Lakeview and wish her a happy birthday.
Well,
so I guess we could do birthday pies for Lexi.
Birthday pie day.
Birthday pie day.
I think, Tim, I really think you said Lakeview's been doing a chili cook-off for 30 years.
Yeah.
You're doing everybody with one service, not in your worship space.
That's true.
Are you going to do any kind of like dinner on the ground after the...
We're toying with the idea of a fully catered lunch for everybody.
Well, do you know what would make that a lot cheaper? If
Not paying a company to...
If there were 100 different chilies to sample.
I mean, that's true. It's not a terrible idea.
It's not a terrible idea. And then you have a trophy. Who doesn't like getting a trophy?
How about a bread bust of Andrew?
Did you ever go to a state? And I know you've been a Floridian your whole life, but have you ever gone to a state fair that had like a butter competition before?
Not a butter competition. I have been to the donut eating competition.
Well, at the Texas State Fair, they have butter carving competitions.
Butter carving. And so people will have like massive sculptures made out of butter. And I wouldn't mind a butter Andrew. I'm a big fan of watching homemade butter videos. Now, have you participated in sort of like a state fair competition before?
I have not.
There was a donut eating contest at the Florida Strawberry Festival a few years back, and they had one opening on the spot, and I attempted to make my way to the front. There was a couple hundred people under the tent, and my kids grabbed me and they're like, "You're not doing this, Daddy. You will throw up." I'm like, "That's the point. Like if I overeat, I immediately just..." Wouldn't that have been great? Like that would be like
you would look at me and be like, "Ooh, that guy could eat a dozen donuts right now." I can't. I can eat a dozen donuts a day, about 3 at a time, for the rest of my life. That's the problem.
How about the great
but the idea of
British
doing it all in half an
Bake
hour,
Off
couldn't do.
with Andrew as Paul Hollywood?
Is it cake church edition?
Is it cake?
I don't know that we could do that. Or we could just do like a breakfast casserole off. That'd be a fun one.
Breakfast casseroles are my favorite casseroles.
We do a lot.
Other than tater tot casseroles.
Well,
but that's a given.
Tim, we are here back in our original space today.
For a reason. Someone's not with us.
Frank is dead.
We're
going to miss him. He's not.
You asked me this morning, so why did you guys have Frank and Corey on stage yesterday?
Well, there's a picture on the socials of, and I didn't know if you and Frank were being prayed over.
I see.
I thought it was the monthly let's show our pastors how much we appreciate them,
which is a great idea.
Thing that you guys do around there, like let's tell Tim that his shirts aren't too tight. Let's bring him up here, and I thought it was one of those things, but that wasn't it.
That was not it. Frank and Corey are both en route to the great state of Arizona.
Ooh.
Frank and Corey are participating in really what's come to be known as the boot camp for church planners. It's a church planners assessment. It is four days of push-ups,
running laps. That whole grenade scene in Captain America: The First Avenger, where they throw a grenade down and someone has to jump on it.
Wall climbing, rope climbing, whatever else you need to be certified.
Whatever else you do in boot camp.
As a church planter, they are doing. They're like literally like 12 to 15-hour days. It's a lot.
So they're not on vacation.
They are definitely not on vacation. We're praying for them. It's going to be a lot this week. And Frank's not going to get a ton of rest when he gets back because we're kicking off the Practically Pastoring Conference
next Monday,
a week
from right now. We won't be recording this show because we'll be.
Thankfully, I did not ask Frank to preach this week. That would have been too much. So he's not on the clock for preaching. That's next week. So he'll get to preach after the conference.
Good. You can't do it before the conference.
No,
that wouldn't be fair. This way, you guys get to split it. It's great. It's fine. Well,
so that's why Frank is not with us. Frank, if you're watching right now, we miss you.
I'm sorry, it's so messy back behind me. I haven't.
It's a
I've gotten
mess.
spoiled because I haven't.
I had to clean your desk.
It was bad.
I had to clean your desk.
It was bad.
All right, so Andrew, you
we
guys
haven't
cooked.
been in here in a month.
You cooked chili yesterday, but you also had a church service.
We did.
Are you in the middle of the new series?
It was our second week
That's what I thought.
in Numbers,
Yep.
the in-between series that we're doing. And really the first 2 weeks were kind of the beginning of the story. So by next week, I think it'll be more practical. Not that these two weren't, but it's kind of the laying the foundation of the book of Numbers. Hey, the people were ready to go into the promised land, and then they didn't. They rebelled. And all of this is a result of that. So now we've got 6 weeks to cover the next 40 years.
So how are you feeling? I mean, you flued it up all week.
Oh,
You were
it was
on the
bad.
medications, and then Sunday morning still because we say this often. Sunday's always coming.
Yeah, every 7 days. It was. So my wife was at home yesterday because we still had some kids that were not quite 100% yet, and she didn't.
Had to do
and
it.
they had not done the Tamiflu like I did.
Yep.
And so, for just to be smart, she stayed home. But there were I covered 35 verses yesterday, and a lot of it were 7.
I'm
or
fine
8.
with that. Yeah,
Just
they
big
get to hear
swaths.
less of Andrew and more of God's
But
word.
my throat kind of started closing up about verse 6. If I was reading a longer passage, it was like, if it was like going to my notes, it was fine.
Excuse me.
But if I'm like just like straight
were you
reading,
sipping the water or the
I
tea?
should have. No, I didn't bring anything up with me.
That's the
And
one
I
Sunday you
should've.
should have. You have
I
the
know.
round table.
I know. But I'm running out of room. My Bible's pretty big. I've got my iPad up there. I have to lean on it.
You do a weird lean.
So there's.
You had nothing for the throat.
I need a cup holder.
Did you at least have some like fisherman friend lodges?
I had nothing. I should have. I had nothing.
Wow.
I had.
You were.
That was foolish. On top of that, we had some people out. One who I was expecting to be out. One who I didn't expect to be out. And they are the two that run our live stream. And so I got in, but
no.
again, I was not here after I went home early-ish on Tuesday, not feeling great.
And then you were out all week.
And then I was out the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So our camera wasn't.
I didn't know till like Thursday. You didn't
'cause
tell us.
I didn't even text. I did not get out of bed for days.
I thought you were dead for at least 12 hours.
It was awful. Tim, I went 2 days without eating anything. Me. I did not feel
This was
good.
serious.
And so yesterday morning, we've got this, the chili cook-off happening and all these things.
It's a big day.
And our camera gear is still taken down from when we were recording the podcast last Monday.
No.
You messed with the shutter speed, and I can
Remember when I was like, "Hey, let us get this all put back," and
And
you're
I
like,
was
"Don't
like,
worry
"Ah."
about it. I'll take it."
That's because we were going to lunch last week, and I was
did.
so hungry.
It was a good lunch.
It was a very good lunch. We
then
went
you
to
got COVID from it.
Poblano's. No, I hope not. No, because you guys would have gotten sick too, because we shared queso.
Ben says, "I'd love to get a series overview of Andrew's series if you have one. I love the premise of it." Ben, done.
Ben, I will send you
Done. It's happening.
something.
It is so happening. Andrew,
Ben,
so you
if we don't have it in the show notes whenever this goes out, and because of me being sick, last week's hasn't gone out yet, so they should go out today. DM me and I will.
We got you.
I will shoot you my overview thing that I'm working with.
So you were dealing with the flu all week. I knew I had a busy weekend coming up. So my wife and I decided to celebrate Valentine's Day early because
It's very early.
For one, we had a gift card. Well, it was a week early. We had a gift card. I preached a funeral a couple months ago, and they were like, "Here's a gift card to a really nice restaurant." I'm like, "That's kind of cool." Like, it forces us to do something different.
I like that because if they're like, "Hey, here's money that's going to go into the
If
family."
it's cash, I'm paying bills.
Yeah, it's going to go into the family
I'm
budget
paying
fund.
bills. Yep. So we had a gift card.
Where'd you go?
We were trying to go on Valentine's Day, but turns out you're not getting reservations at the Texas Cattle Company
No, you're not.
on Valentine's Day. If you don't know Texas Cattle, it's a nice steakhouse in Lakeland, and typically it's if you want to go on a nice night, it's several months out to get that reservation. So we were able to get a reservation for Friday night, so that was cool. So we did an early Valentine's Day date night, had an absolute blast. My wife tried to order wine, didn't work out, didn't have her license on her. They said, we card anyone under 40 here. Mm-hmm. I showed them our digital IDs. Mm-hmm. Nope. The server said, I can't feel the laminate on those.
See, in Florida, don't police officers have to take those now?
Apparently they do, but not servers.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean,
wine wasn't happening, apparently.
Listen.
Maybe someone was near us and we would have been a stumbling block.
Maybe it was.
We did not want to be a stumbling block.
God trying to keep your testimony intact, Tim. But
Okay, well that's
just on principle. If it's good enough for law enforcement,
it's not good enough.
Cody at the steakhouse doesn't get a say.
Not good enough for the 24-year-old server. Wasn't good enough. We had a great night together, then followed it up with another date night on Saturday. Here's what's very, very strange for me. You know this. I have a Saturday night pregame ritual.
You do?
I do.
You go to bed early.
I do not.
I stay up late Saturday.
I do not go out. If home group is happening, we are leaving a little bit early. I like to be home. I have a sermon read through. I have a whole process. It's like a thing. I opted to forego that because Saturday night was the annual daddy-daughter date night in Safety Harbor. And it's a big deal to my daughters.
Put on by the wonderful Safety Harbor Leisure Services Department, one of the greatest.
It's top notch.
You could say Parks and Rec, but here in Safety Harbor, it's Leisure Services, and they really.
And speaking of
very,
reservations
very well.
and selling out, we were unable to go last year because I think it was December. I tried to get tickets and they were already sold out. So you have to get these tickets months in advance. It is a big deal for my daughters to be part of it. So. I took my daughters to the daddy-daughter date night. We're dancing. We're having a great time. Turns out a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old don't stop dancing. And if you keep giving them cake, they will keep dancing for hours and hours on end. I had a couple of dads who were there with their daughters know that I'm a pastor. It was about 8:30, 8:45. And they're like, so who's preaching for you tomorrow? I'm like, I'm
guy right
preaching.
here.
They're like, are you normally out? I'm like, nope, I am never out late on a Saturday. Normally at 8:30, I am doing my read-through. So it was literally during my read-through time.
Typically, Saturday night, Tim is doing lines of protein on his desk. And it's whey protein, don't worry.
100%.
And just doing some push-ups real quick.
I had multiple dads tell me, we might come to Lakeview tomorrow just to see what happens because this is going to be a very tired Tim.
Because they kept dancing.
And one dad was like, so you got just one service too? I'm like, no, we're now at 3 services. I'll be up at 5, ready to rock for all 3. I felt it. And I was actually feeling it midway through the second service. So I did get up. I took my my supplements yesterday morning, tried to actually eat a breakfast before church, which I never, ever do. It was very strange for me.
I'm hungry thinking about breakfast.
I'm hungry right now. So I had a kind of a tired Sunday, and here's the kicker. It was the longest manuscript in probably about a year.
How long?
4,000 words.
Whoo!
It was an entire chapter.
That's a big chapter.
It was an entire chapter. And it was still only 35 minutes because of the text.
Yeah.
So the sermon length wasn't that much longer.
How I was, because I covered 35 verses, and so my manuscript was close to 700 words longer than the week before's, but the sermon might have been 2 minutes longer than
it was maybe a minute or two longer than a normal Sunday sermon, but very heavy application driven, which that 1 Corinthians chapter 8 it lends itself well to some pretty practical advice for Christians.
I would say so.
When it comes to should I or should I not do this thing? Freedoms, liberties. Do I have the freedom to not do something?
You sure do, Tim.
For the sake of my fellow brother or sister in Christ?
Here's the thing. You said something this morning. We were at the good old Bucks, the Starbucks down the street, and I was getting my free coffee on the day after the Super Bowl. Went great with my coffee cake, which was not free.
Getting mine tonight.
And you said something that made me laugh very hard about the sermon series that you're in, and you are preaching next week as well.
I am.
So chapter 8, very application, Christian liberty.
Love it.
Freedom, like kind of a fun.
It's fun. You could talk, like we went down like a list. Should Christians get tattoos? Should they smoke weed? Is it okay to drink? Like all these like great topics that almost like youth pastor Tim would get on a regular basis.
So excited.
We just went like rapid fire. And then Paul follows it up with maybe not the greatest chapter that the lead pastor is preaching. So if you know 1 Corinthians chapter 9, Paul then follows it up with, hey, don't forget to pay your pastors.
Hey, you're free in Christ. You're free to pay your pastor.
And then at the end of his whole,
a worker is worth his wage.
He's like, you pay the pastor. And then at the very tail end of it, he goes, and by the way, I'm not taking a dime. What? I'm doing this for free because I love Jesus more than
to
you.
which I said to you, like, you need to be like, well, but he didn't have a wife or 5 kids, so come on now.
But like, is this the week I should have had an elder preach?
Maybe.
Like I wasn't even thinking about it. I went to do a little read. I mean, just an initial pass of the text this morning. And I'm like, oh, it's that one. I knew it was coming.
When you're going through like whole books like this, that's one of those things. Because like when you're looking at like a 1-paragraph summary of, ooh, here's what this.
Right.
Oh, I can preach that. And then you get into it like, oh no, but it's already on the schedule and the worship team has already picked out songs.
It's happening.
This is the sermon that's going to be preached.
It's happening. We're going to go from a 4,000 word manuscript to a 1,500 word manuscript.
Hey, everybody.
It's a pray for each other Sunday. Why don't you go ahead and group up together? We're going to have some prayer prompts on the screen for the next 25 minutes.
I was thinking about the way that you guys do prayer prompts, and we had a conversation, maybe, I don't know if it was on Practically Pastoring or who it was with, but about like using ChatGPT for things. I think that would be a really good use. Like, here's my sermon manuscript, put it in ChatGPT. Can you give me 4 or 5 prayer prompts?
I do that.
Is that how you get your prompts?
I'll ask it to give me prayer prompts, typically based on the text.
Okay.
So I'll say, give me 5, and you have to specify whether you want short or long. So sometimes I'll say, give me 5 1-sentence prayer prompts, and that'll kind of like generate the ideas. And then sometimes I can use them as is. Sometimes they need to be tweaked just a little bit. But usually, if I put in the text, I have been using ChatGPT long enough where it knows that. Yeah. It knows me. I've asked quite a few like biblical things of it, so it knows like where I lean theologically now. So it will give me pretty much exactly what I'm looking for, and I'll have to do very little editing in there.
I love that.
It's a good use of it.
I love it, Tim.
My daughter has also gotten used to taking difficult text messages, dropping it in and saying, how should I respond to this friend in a loving and gracious way?
Which
I'm
app
like,
do you just use the web-based through Safari?
ChatGPT has its own app.
Oh, see, I don't have. I only desktop it.
Yeah, and it's great for my kids in high school because they can literally, like if Emily's struggling in chemistry, she can take a picture of the chemistry problem and not ask just for the answer, but ask to show the work, and it will walk her through step by step how to get to that answer. She aced her last test not by cheating, but by studying with ChatGPT, which was pretty phenomenal.
It's a good thing.
Sometimes better than a teacher.
I mean,
so Andrew, I was up late Saturday night, preached all 3 services on Sunday, and I was tired, bud.
But so was Emily.
Here's the great part about that. So I'm taking Emily, my 15-year-old, to school this morning, and she goes, Dad, I got more sleep last night than I did on Saturday night, and for some reason, I am way more tired today than I was yesterday. And I said, babe, what you are experiencing is what preachers all across America experience, all across the world.
Ministry fatigue, my dear.
Monday is typically known as Ministry Fatigue Day, especially if you are the primary communicator or you are on stage, and it just exerts an energy that, I mean, if you're leading in any capacity, you feel this, I think, any capacity.
And she was in the band all 3 services.
She was in the band. She played keys. So that means she was, up with me 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Now that means if she was playing keys, that means that Bonnie was not playing keys.
My mom was off, so I got to sit by my mom at the 8 o'clock service.
And watch her granddaughter.
She got to watch
fill her role.
How great is that?
That's a very cool thing.
It was very, very special. She did a phenomenal job, but I got to kind of have that combo with her about the Monday. I mean, we've historically called it the ministry hangover, which is effectively what it is. You just
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't either.
I mean, I know what ministry hangover feels like. I don't know what the other kind feels like.
I wouldn't either.
Okay.
True story.
I mean, you're the one telling stories about ordering alcohol on a
I
ministry
didn't
podcast.
do it. I didn't do it.
You tried to.
I said, Stephanie, if they won't let you have any, I will also abstain.
Wow.
So I did.
Good for you.
For the sake of my Christian wife. I didn't want to make her stumble.
There you go. I'm very proud of you.
What is happening?
I don't know. I'll tell you what's happening. What's happening, Tim, is I'm tired.
You're tired. I'm
tired. I'm hungry.
There's just one thing. I mean, we didn't even get
Go
here.
for it. We got time.
We could say
what
it.
is
We can go for it.
Do it. Do it right now.
So
I'm ready.
You and I, what do you think our youth ministry experience is together? Combined years total? 30?
Yeah. That's the exact number I was going to go for.
About 30 years in youth ministry. I would say in every season of youth ministry, there are a handful of students that
need more attention.
Are going to push your buttons.
Yes.
They're going to push the buttons of your small group leaders. They're going to be, maybe the word is unruly from time to time.
And
hard to hard to dial in.
5 years from now, they will run the world.
Sure.
As
Sure. And good for better or for worse.
Yes.
Now, when I was younger, Tim, in a very different era of youth ministry, I could have very direct words with these students.
Yes.
And probably a tone that would not be acceptable in 2025.
Probably not. Not when every kid's going to secretly record you and show it to their mom who thinks they've never done anything wrong.
And typically, if I took that tone one-on-one with that student outside of the youth ministry building, that solved it for the night.
Yeah.
Like I could do that every couple of weeks. They're whipped back into shape. I think tactics need to change. So let's just say, for example, you have a couple of unruly students at Safety Harbor Community Church Youth Group.
I'm the youth minister these days.
You're the youth minister. What would be some practical advice for any youth pastors out there who are saying, man, we're walking through this right now. We may or may not have a select few students at Lakeview who we're loving, we're doing our best to minister well, but man, when you've got that, and you know this as a youth pastor, like that constant disruption.
Oh yeah.
Every single week. Like you almost want to take drastic measures.
Yeah.
But then you have to take a step back. You have to process and realize, okay, these are usually, I'm not trying to like stereotype, but typically it's a middle school boy, right?
It's almost exclusively a middle school boy.
Always a middle school boy.
He's got hormones going everywhere. You don't know what's happening at home.
12, 13, 14, like that's usually the age range where things are just a bit nutty.
He's around girls for the first time. Or at least realizes for the first time, hey, I've been around girls my whole life and never noticed, but now I notice.
So what are you doing for those students, in particular if they're being a disruption on a regular basis?
Give them a job to do. And so it's not like, hey, I'm rewarding you, but it's I am taking your nervous energy and putting it elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So if there's not a job, I make up a job. Hey, we need a assistant sound guy, whatever.
That's a good idea.
And partially that's, hey, I need you in this corner. You being in this corner is very important, and your buddy being in that corner is also very important. Youth group does not happen if the two of you are not doing these very specific jobs, which happen to be on the opposite side of the room from each other.
Because if the two of you are near each other, youth group is a mess.
It's like the streams crossing in Ghostbusters, and that's bad.
It is an absolute
we don't want that.
Mess. I guess maybe now that you say that, I'm like, was I that kid? Because I'm like, I remember my youth pastor saying, hey, Tim, you're leading the game next week. And I was like, I'm leading the game?
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
You were definitely that kid.
Thinking back, I just thought he saw leadership in me.
No, you were a punk.
Oh, no.
You should text him.
I led like the greatest games ever. Whenever I was called on to lead the game, I took it so serious.
Yeah.
I would research. I would be like, hey, what's my budget? I'm going to go out and buy supplies.
I think especially that middle school boy DNA is they want to be empowered to do something. So I think you balance the carrot and the stick. So here's this thing that I need from you. I need you to lead. I need you to make this thing happen. Only you can do this. Also, if you screw up again, I will give your mother a verbatim recap of every stupid thing you have ever done.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And so I think you have that threat hanging over their head, but you also have the promise of here's this really cool thing that you get to do.
The thing you don't want to do is, and again, 30 years in youth ministry, we have tried many, many different things. We've taken very different approaches at times. The last thing you want is for them to leave.
Yes.
You want them there. Like as disruptive as they are, Jesus didn't come for the healthy, right? Like
no, and
you want those students in that room.
That I think there are some kids that's like just easy and effortless to hang out with.
Right.
But they're easy and effortless to hang out with at home. They're easy and effortless to hang out with at school. Their coaches, their teachers, everybody sees them as that easy and effortless kid that you want to be around.
Yeah.
The kids that make you want to punch your mother, they are treated like that pariah everywhere else they go. They are the ones that feel like no matter where they go, they can't step 1 foot out of line without someone biting their head off. Those are the kids that need someone to
tough.
kind of put an arm around them and be like, ha, hilarious, buddy. Maybe not during the lesson, but that was funny.
Right.
They're the ones that are not getting that kind of encouragement from anyone else. So I can think very specifically of the quintessential version of that kid in my student ministry days past.
Sure. I remember them well.
He's a kid who does not have anybody in his corner sometimes.
I would often, from time to time go out of my way. I would take those students out sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember golfing with a group of those students at one time, like whatever it took to
Chick-fil-A is getting expensive, but
Chick-fil-A's a little
Steak and Shake
pricey.
is still super cheap.
Yep.
A milkshake solves a lot of things.
We've got some great advice coming in. John says, look, they need to respect the other kids, and that's the main thing. Like, as a youth pastor, right? As youth pastors for many years, we knew that there were students there who wanted to grow in their faith.
Yes.
Like they genuinely were there for the right reasons, and it wasn't just because mom and dad were like, here, fix my kid. So you want to balance that out because you want to minister to those kids well. So I agree. I think involving the parent is helpful here.
Yeah.
Like, the parent needs to be clued in on what's happening.
But you also have a prefrontal cortex that is not developed and a kid who is not.
So Jeff says, how about the unruly kids closet? Just
throw them in there.
One spot, they're in there. We call it the chokey.
Okay.
That's Matilda.
I was going to say, what?
Have you not seen Matilda?
Not in a long time. She's got like the weird finger thing, right? That she does.
Oh, you don't have daughters.
I don't have daughters.
Okay, we watch the old and the new Netflix Matilda weekly.
Is that Roald Dahl? Or?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What? We'll move on.
I read the book.
Yes. And
Hence,
the movie with
whatever they call the thing with the finger, where she magics people or something.
She does have some powers.
A magic finger.
The Netflix musical was phenomenal. My kids loved it. I loved it. It was a ton of fun. There was a torture device that when the unruly kids they'd get thrown into the torture device.
I don't think you should torture children.
Probably not a great idea.
No.
Probably not a great idea.
And here's the thing: if you're gonna torture children, make sure it's the ones whose parents won't believe them when they tell.
Or the parents are okay with it.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, I think this is helpful.
Hang on. Jeff has something to say.
Thank you, Jeff. As a parent of a disruptor, join the club. It's often about redirecting their performative nature. They just want attention, but don't know how to get it in a healthy way. I think that's a good
I think
take.
so too. And I think also, especially you speaking as a parent of 2 middle school boys.
Yep. I got one.
Would very much like to have something to say to the middle school girls that are so much more articulate than they are.
Yep.
They can't get those words out, and so the fart noise or the stupid stunt or the tripping the other boy is the best solution.
I mean, I did it.
It's not the best solution.
I get it. It was me.
Yeah.
Like, I did those things.
Yeah.
Typically more at my Christian school than I did at church. But I did act like that at my school.
Also, if you can get an older kid to take them under their wing, that is...
Yeah.
Hey.
That was big for me in youth group. I had several high school guys that were like, hey, Tim, can I pick you up for church next week? I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
This is the greatest day of my life.
Yeah, like we went to Steak and Shake together, and like that was...
I'm telling you.
Trey, that was huge.
Thank you, Trey. Will Powell, Tim Armstrong, who's sometimes on this show. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
This is good. This is really good. Youth workers out there, we're here for you.
Back
we
space.
We love you. We care for you. I hope you feel seen and heard.
If you want to get a master's degree, I could talk to you about some really good classes currently being offered at Liberty University in the youth ministry department.
You heard it.
520 and 630. Those are the classes you want to take.
You heard it right here. Hey, it's almost noon. The Super Bowl was last night. Maybe you're just rolling out of bed. Go get some food.
Yeah, it's hungry time. It's hungry o'clock.
Wake up. Will we be here next week?
I don't think so.
No, we will not
practically pastoring.
We will be at a Practically Pastoring Conference hosted by the Lakeview Church.
You should show up. You can still sign up. You got time.
If you're a pastor out there, especially if you're in the area, if you are in the area and you want to come, let us know. Shoot us a DM. We will hook you up with the promo code. You probably won't have to pay much of anything. If you want to come, let us know. Steph, she chimes in for this one. Tim was a baddie at school. He tried to be a baddie at church, but wasn't very good at it.
Here's the thing.
It's true. I just
when
wasn't
Tim
good.
was a senior in high school, Stephanie would do his laundry.
That is also true.
She set him up to be this guy that we see right here.
Stephanie, I love you forever.
I'm sorry you couldn't get your drink on.
How about this one? PK's going to PK. We're going to
Yeah,
leave it
they
right
are.
there. We're going to leave
Yeah,
it
they
right
are.
there for you. All right,
Hey,
boys and girls.
See you in a couple weeks.
I love you. We miss you.